Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, depending on where you are. I am Dr. Gowri Yale, a veterinarian from India. I am currently working for Siva Sante Animal, a veterinary pharmaceutical in France. Siva is well known for veterinary drugs, veterinary biologicals, and diagnostics too. I will be speaking about our oral rabies vaccines. We have ORV for both wildlife and dogs, and I'll be concentrating on our dog vaccine in this presentation. And not to forget, I love the audience that turn up at ICAM. It's an audience that loves dogs and cats, and are here for reasons that I joined this profession. So I'm happy to be here, and thank you for your attention. A little bit about oral rabies vaccine for wildlife. Um, you, they've been around for a while. Oral rabies vaccines have been used for more than 40 years against wildlife rabies. Europe dropped their first ORV bait in Switzerland in 1978. And after that, the vaccine was dropped in the entire Central and Western Europe, eliminating fox rabies and keeping it at bay. Similarly, skunk and raccoon rabies have been in control in the United States and Canada, thanks to oral rabies vaccines. So with this history, why not control rabies in dogs? So to control rabies in a dog population, you need to vaccinate 70 to 80% of the population, the target population. I am very sure that everyone listening to me here today knows the magic number, 70%. And you also probably know how difficult it is to reach this 70%. And in most rabies programs across the globe, this has become a common recurring issue where a lot of effort has been diverted to control rabies, a lot of funds allocated, a lot of human resource diverted for rabies. And every year, the program aims to get 70%, but doesn't. And when you don't reach 70%, you don't eliminate the disease. So this causes vaccination fatigue or program fatigue that stops people from being motivated to control rabies. So now how do we get this 70%? So when we say 70% of the dog population, it is important that we focus on the 70% of the dog population that is responsible for transmitting rabies. To understand this, you would need to know what kind of dog population you're dealing with in your program. So confined dogs that have a home, are cared for, have parents that will take them to a vet, get them vaccinated, take them to a vet when they fall sick. These dogs are not responsible for transmitting rabies. So in your program, although it is important that these dogs are vaccinated, the challenge to get your 70% lies in the dogs that are free roaming. Now, there are different types of free roaming dogs. The semi-confined, these dogs stay inside houses during the day, but are left outside free to roam about and make friends, make babies, and get rabies. And they're well fed, they multiply, they might be sterilized, they might be vaccinated, but they contribute to transmission if they're not vaccinated. Similarly, there are community dogs. Community dogs don't live inside anybody's houses. They live on the streets, but look at people as a source of food, a source of protection, someone who would cuddle them. And dogs love being cuddled. They would come to you for a cuddle more than coming for a treat. So community dogs might also be vaccinated and many times also sterilized if if there's a dog-loving community around them. And the third group are feral dogs. Now, feral dogs don't look at people for any help. They don't look at people as any source of food or shelter. They fend for themselves. They're probably eating garbage, hunting for small wildlife or vermin in cities. So these dogs are very hard to catch and vaccinate and are responsible for transmitting rabies. So we are now focusing on the population that is responsible for transmitting rabies, and these are free-roaming dogs, and they are broadly categorized into these three, like I mentioned. From your own experiences, you would have seen that you can catch 40 to 50% of these free-roaming dogs by hand. You could call them, give them a cuddle, give them a treat, hold them down, give a vaccination, it's smooth. You could also pick them up for sterilization. But to get more than 70%, sorry, to get more than 50%, you would need a tool. And these tools could be catch traps, nets, and definitely not snares, not recommended at all. But it takes a lot of people to catch dogs by nets compared to hand catching. And if you were to use an oral rabies vaccine with hand catching, you would need far fewer people. And also, dogs can remember nets. When you catch a dog, the dog's in pain, scared. They have anal gland secretions that tell each other that there is something that you should be scared of. So they signal fear. Now, these scents stay on our clothes, on our nets, and dogs can sense them from kilometers. They can also recognize the sound of the vehicles that have come repeatedly into areas to catch dogs for either vaccination or sterilization. They can smell us, like I mentioned before. So every year you do this, dogs will run away faster, leading to lesser coverage every year. Also, there's a chance that you could be transmitting infectious diseases and parasites from one dog to another, either by touching them, from our shoes, nets, we're using the same net for many dogs, and also in static point where several dogs stand in line to get vaccinated. And not to forget the challenges of working, vaccinating dogs on the streets with people and children in residential areas, crowded areas, markets, and roads, busy roads with heavy traffic. If you've ever vaccinated dogs in tropical countries with rabies, you know these challenges. And a safe way of vaccinating these dogs would be ideal. Also, another thing, not common but can happen, staff can get bitten by these dogs when they're vaccinating by hand or when they're trying to vaccinate a dog through the net. This is additional exposure of our staff to trauma through bites and potentially rabies. And to think about the staff and the challenges they face, working through harsh weather conditions, heavy rainfall, and the sun. We are talking about a disease in tropical countries, and the sun is glaring for most of the day. If only there was an easy way to vaccinate dogs. Oral rabies vaccines for dogs have been in discussion for several years. International stakeholders have been encouraging an industry to develop a safe vaccine for the use in dogs, and I say safe twice, because dogs live very close to people, unlike wildlife, and it is important that we use a safe vaccine for dogs and people if they were to touch the vaccine. Here I would like to show the audience a video of us using an oral rabies vaccine to vaccinate a free-roaming dog. And note that this dog is extremely shy, very wary of people, and if we were to catch this dog by hand or by net or any other tool, would have been impossible. Voila, vaccinated. Similarly, I'm showing another video of us vaccinating a dog. Note the difference between the setting. The previous dog was on the streets, shy, difficult to catch. In this video, these dogs are in a community, relaxed. If we were to chase them, they would be howling and telling each other to run. It is important for the dogs to chew the bait, and the vaccine has to be released in the oral cavity and touch the tonsils. So the camera is focusing on the chewing part here to show the importance. Here's a picture of a man in Turkey. This is his shepherd dog, and he cannot touch his own dog. This is common in several regions of the world, where people can't handle their dogs easily. They can't take them to a vet for any treatment, can't take them to a static point vaccination program to get their dogs vaccinated. It becomes really hard. Here the man is using a shovel to hand a bait, an oral rabies vaccine, to his dog. Like I said before, it is important for the dog to chew the bait and release the vaccine in its mouth. So the bait has been designed to make sure that the size and the consistency serves that. So to wrap up my presentation, oral rabies vaccines, again, not new, the concept is not new, but the dog vaccine is new. And we have good efficacy. One dose is enough for very long duration of immunity. Easy to use, like I've just shown. The bait is tasty. Dogs love it, so easily accepted. And also, like I said, it's been designed for the vaccine to be released properly in the mouth. The vaccine is safe for target species, that's dogs. They can have several pieces of vaccine, pieces of bait, and not a problem. And to non-target species also. So non-target species would be cats, cattle, crows, any other animal that we don't intend to vaccinate but would pick up the bait by accident. And the only side effect of this is that the other animal also gets vaccinated. No adverse effects in non-target species either. Humans are also safe if someone was to touch the vaccine or for it to splash on someone's face, eyes, mouth. The vaccine is safe. But if the person is immunocompromised, then they would need to visit a doctor. The vaccine is not shed in the environment through urine or feces or through saliva of the dogs. And they don't, so there's no horizontal transmission, but there is vertical transmission, meaning if a female dog were to be vaccinated before or during pregnancy, her puppies would have antibodies to protect them from rabies. I won't go through the characteristics of the vaccine again. Feel free to contact us. And until then, thank you very much for your attention. And I know many of us are working for a world free of rabies, from the streets especially, so that children and people can have a better relationship with dogs once this fear is removed. And I am in the audience waiting to take questions. Thank you very much.